ॐ ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्टिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तम् अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः। ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः. So once again, welcome back everyone. Over to you, sir.
So namaste. So today we are seeing like many rivers that we have referred many times in the previous classes or sessions, but we are formally going through those rivers in this particular session. So the names are very familiar, like Marutpratha and Vitasta, and I have mentioned multiple times the nature of these rivers, because one is the older course of the Jalam river. So that is recorded into the fourth mandala of Ṛgveda as Vibali. And there, when we mentioned about Vibali, which is the fourth mandala channel, the channel which was contemporary to the fourth mandala of the Jalam river, the Kashmir river. So we noted that the Vibali river flows from the Kashmir valley and descend into the Indo-Gangetic plain, and it follows the current course of Jalam, but after some time it shifts westwards and joins the Sindhu river. So that was the Vibali river, and there the poet described the fourth mandala, or the somewhere in the middle Ṛgvedic period, the poet describes that the Vibali river got some shifting or transformation. That is, that it is transformation, or the shifting of the river is indicated as Vitasthana. That is, it's a verb actually, it's not a noun. Vitasthana means shifted, or migrated or transformed river. So there the Rishi, that is Vamadeva Gautama, was the Rishi of that fourth mandala, the Sukta which described the Vibali, has already indicated that the Vibali river got shifted subsequently. So that after the shifting, we came to know about the same river as Vitasta. So what the poet or the new poet is Hindukshit Priyameda, the author of the Nadi Sukta, that is 10th Mandala, 75th Sukta. So in the 10th Mandala, 76th Sukta, the Nadi Sukta, very famous is Nadi Sukta, the Rishi, or the geographer, the great geographer of the Rigveda, Sindukshit Priyametha, used that verb, that is Vibali is shifted, like that it is mentioned in the fourth mandala or the middle Rigvedic period. So in that there is a mention of Vitasthana, that is the Vibali got shifted. Vibali has shifted, or Vibalyam Vitasthanam, like that. That terminology of shifting, the shifting river or the shifted river, that verb itself converted into a noun and given to the river, and that is the Vitastha river. And Vitastha river is the current course, whatever Jalam river current course, that is the same as the Vitastha course. So of course, it happened in the 10th mandala, and that situation is continuing even today. And that is why, like in any kind of Kashmir literature, Jalam river is mentioned as Vitastha, and there are certain organizations which Kashmiri organization which call themselves as Vitastha, name it like a Vitastha, like that, because the entire river course, the Jalam river course, is the Vitastha river course. The shifted course of Vibali is the Vitastha course, and that is the current course of Jalam river. So in the current course of Jalam river, it is not directly flowing into the Sindhu by flowing westward, but it is flowing downwards and joining the Sindhu river after some time. So maybe I'll just share it. I got some issue in the laptop for sharing these PPT. So what I do is I'll just, instead of this is the Vibali course, if you remember, that is the Jalam river. You can see the name Jalam also mentioned here, and Vidasta is mentioned here, and the older course, that is the fourth mandala course of the Jalam river, that is the Vipali, and this is mentioned in the fourth mandala. So probably the Vipali course is used by the migration, the Ṛgvedic migration from Satlaj, Vibhas, Parishni, Asikni, and then Marutvata, and then, I mean, once the Marutvata was not existing in the fourth mandala period, so it is basically Asikni and Vitasta. And Vitasta means this Jalam river Vipali, and they flow this Vipali course and they can reach the Sindhu river. So probably this could be the migration path also. This all the old course of the Jalam river Vipali could be the migration path through which they like reach the Sindhu river. And subsequently the river got shifted, so that is the Vitasta channel. So this is the Vitasta channel, and it joins other rivers and then joins the Sindhu river. So this is the current configuration of the Punjab rivers, and which is also mentioned as Sapta Sindhu. So Punjab means both the Indian side and Pakistan side Punjab river. So Punjab 5 rivers. So this is the kind of you can say the current course of the Jalam river is the Vitasta. So what is Marudvrtha? We have mentioned it multiple times. So Marudvrtha is a completely temporary river. This river was not flowing in the fourth mandala period. That is why there is no mention of Marudvrtha in the fourth mandala. But just in the 10th mandala, the Marudvrtha is mentioned there just before Vitasta river. So it is mentioned after Asikni and before Vitasta. So that is why the Marudvrtha course is in between Vitasta and Asikni. Between Vitasta and Asikni, there was a temporary river. And this river was very temporary, means maybe it might have flowed for 100 years and not before or after that. So the some 100 years during the 10th mandala period, there was a secondary flow for the Jalam river, and through the secondary flow or secondary channel, this river was flowing, and it is somewhere joining the Chenab river. So this is not very clear because there is an older channel that is seen in satellite map, which is like a dot, whatever I mentioned, shown as a dot. It reaching up to this an old channel of the Parishni river. So it's a very complex kind of river dynamics. That is, this channel is also visible, but probably during the 10th mandala period, the flow was only up to here, and there was a small stream of river through this channel, and it was joining the Asikni river. And there was the continuous existing channel here. This could be a very ancient, maybe even some 7,000 BC or very ancient channel. So this particular Jalam river had a very complex dynamics wherein it will sometimes flow like this or sometimes flow like that. So there are two channels, which is two flow channels of the Jalam river, which was visible in the satellite imagery. So all these channels, whatever I have drawn in dotted lines, this Marudvrtha channel, this kind of connection, this one, this kind of a channel, everything is actually seen in the satellite map as ancient riverbeds. And we are making an informed guess about how much part of the channel was active in what kind of period. So that is one kind of, you can say, gap in the complete analysis. But more or less, when we put up this understanding that Marudvrtha was a river channel that was active in the 10th mandala period, and flow was up to here, because this flow-based analysis that I have done has to be subsequently reanalyzed in the geology and re-verified. So I have put it as a kind of question mark for the archaeologists to check my this particular analysis, that this channel was active and it was reaching up. Whether there was a continuous flow from here like this, we don't know. But typically rain, when there is a dried up river channel and when there is a rain, that is a natural that the channel become active. So there may be water here, so we cannot confirm any of this unless we do a lot of more geological analysis onto the channels. So in the book, I have provided all the channels and entire dynamics of that channels, like where it is stopping, etc., for the further analysis and checking the kind of flow that was there existing like how long it was existing and whether the flow was there in an ancient, much more ancient period. All these things has to be settled in geology. Currently, you can see the channel and it matches with the Sindhukshish Priyameda's sequence. So, for example, this this Nadi Sukta, that is 10.75, fifth stanza, which is saying Imam me Gange Yamune Saraswati Sududri Stomam Sajata Parushniya Asuknya Marudvrtha Vitastyarjigiye Srunyo Sushomaya. So here in the list of the rivers, there is a river between Asikni and Vitasta. So this is Asikni, that is Chandrabhaga or Chenab river, and this is Vitasta. So Marudvrtha is clearly indicated as a channel or river between Asikni and Vitasta. So we have followed this principle everywhere. Like for example, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati means Yamuna is between Ganga and Saraswati, or Yamuna, Saraswati, Sudutri means Saraswati is between Yamuna and Sudutri. And that is how we have located Saraswati as a river flowing between Yamuna and Sudutri or Satluj. So that same principle applies in the second line of the stanza. So this Marudvrtha, just like Saraswati is between Yamuna and Satluj, Marudvrtha is between Asikni and Vitasta. That is clear from the river like sequence. And the Sindhukshit Priyameda is the greatest archaeologist or geographer, a geographer Rishi of the Ṛgveda, because his Nadi Sukta gives you 21 river names just like that. And the remaining rivers which are not mentioned in Nadi Sukta is only something like 10, 12, a dozen of rivers, nothing more than that. So around 33 unique rivers, around 32, 34 unique rivers, out of which 21 is directly mentioned by Sindhukshit Priyametha. And he is a perfect geographer of the Ṛgvedic period. So whatever names of the rivers he is mentioning in the Nadi Sukta, they are geographical codes. They are encoded with geography. So Ganga is first, the easternmost river. Yamuna is second, Saraswati is third, Satluj is fourth. And automatically it means Yamuna is between Ganga and Saraswati, or Saraswati is between Yamuna and Satluj. So all these things we get it. And after this, after Satluj, you have Parushni. So Satluj is here, there is Parushni here. And then comes Asikni. So here is Asikni. Then come Marudvrtha. So here is Marudvrtha. Then comes Vitasta. So yes. And Ṛgvedic Sushoma, we have seen two twin rivers, which was earlier a tributary of the Ṛgvedic Sarayu or the Haro river, subsequently detached and become the tributaries of Sindhu river. So those things we have discussed in the previous session. So currently our session focus is Marudvrtha and Vitasta. And Vitasta, I mentioned, it is a shift. Vibali shifted, the river Vibali shifted, and the new course is the Vitasta river. And this entire information geographically encoded in the fourth mandala, that Vibali got shifted. And the shifting process is mentioned as Vitastana, as a verb. And that verb becomes a proper noun of the noun and a name of the river in the 10th mandala. Because the reasons, because maybe Vibali is very active in the early Ṛgveda and the fourth mandala period, that is middle Ṛgveda, and slowly, because this river's flow reduced, because the river got shifted to Vitasta. So by the 10th mandala period, only people know that there is only a river called this particular channel is only active, and that channel is known as Vitasta. And this channel probably dried out, and there is no longer any Vibali during the 10th mandala period. So whatever is available in the 10th mandala is the Vitasta river, that is the current course of Jalam. And there is another secondary channel of the same river, which happened to be active during the 10th mandala, that is the Marudvrtha. And of course, some people ask, what is the meaning of Marudvrtha? So just like Vitasta means a shifted river, what is the meaning of Marudvrtha? So Marudvrtha basically is associated with the Maruds. So the river name indicate that this particular river is associated with Marud, and it increase the strength of the Maruds, or the Maruds are increasing the strength of the river. So maybe this river, the water flow in this river is influenced by heavy winds. So Marud represents the wind, right? So there is a connection with the wind flow and the river flow here. That is why it is indicated as Marut Vritha. So Vritha means to get strengthened or get reinforced, etc. So this is the reinforcer of Maruts. That is the kind of meaning that is coming from for this. And of course, Asikni, I mentioned it is mean a dark river or black river. And the blackness is probably the color of the river. So that I mentioned when I was discussing Asikni river. Of course, Parushni means already I have mentioned, but Parushni means woolen, wool or the wool of the what do you call the hair, woolen hair of sheep. Everything is found in this river. That is why it is called Parushni river. It is also known as white river. Woolen color, gray color. No, Parushni, the color of the wool, gray color, grayish. So there is a dark river and there is a white river. Or Parushni have to its meaning slightly white river or a whitish river or a grayish river. And also it means the river containing wool, means hair of sheep. So it tufts of the sheep, maybe sheep cultivation was there along this particular river. Tufts of sheep was found in this particular river. So that is what I just by passing by, I'm mentioning the names of the rivers. And Vipash, there is no etymology given in the Ṛgveda, but in the Mahabharata, it mentioned the Vipash is associated with Vasishta, and Vasishta's this bondage was removed by Vipash. So it's a bondage removal river like that. And Sududri, the etymology, there is instead of Shadadru got an etymology in the Mahabharata, which is like a river which has split into multiple pieces. That is because of this river has got multiple channels. Some of the channels also joining Saraswati. So that is why Shatadru got that name. So every river got some names associated with it and meaningful names. And Sanskrit meaningful names are seen in all these particular rivers. So in today's focus, we have the Marudvrtha. Marudvrtha is our primary focus river, and Vitasta. So two rivers which we have not formally discussed, but of course many times they are mentioned whenever I am mentioning Vibali, both rivers got mentioned. And now today we are actually formally seeing those rivers and how the dynamics is, etc. The entire dynamics is properly understood. The etymological meaning of Marudvrtha is also understood. So of course in English I mentioned Jalam old channel. This was a temporary channel actually. This is a Jalam old channel, and this is actually Jalam old channel and also a temporary channel, because this channel is not currently aware. Today it's not flowing, just like Saraswati dried up. The Marudvrtha channel is dried up, but you can see it in satellite maps. Of course, only Saraswati is very famous as dried up and can be seen only in satellite maps. But Ṛgvedic geography shows many such rivers. I mentioned Saraswati as one of them. Marudvrtha is one of the dried up river channel. Even there are some dried up channel associated with the Ṛgvedic Sarayu also. It's little bit slightly in the northward in this direction. Wherein the two rivers, the old course of the two rivers, Ṛgvedic and Sushoma, which brings Soma, that is Soma originating from the Soma growing region, originally flowed into the Sarayu river, and it was a very mighty river when it was mentioned in Ṛgveda in the fourth mandala. But subsequently, the two channel tributaries of Sarayu, the Ṛgvedic and Sushoma, separated from it, migrated to become a tributary of Sindhu river. Of course, they are considered as a twin rivers because typically one of the river is tributary, another river is a main river. But here they give rishis give equal importance to Ṛgvedic and Sushoma. So even though Ṛgvedic is a tributary of Sushoma, still they are considered as twin rivers flowing into the river Sindhu. So I think now the entire picture of the Indo-Gangetic plain rivers are very clear to you, because we have already covered all the Indo-Gangetic plain rivers now, and there is nothing left in the Indo-Gangetic river. This left hand, this particular western side, the Kurmu, Mehatnu, and Gomati we have also seen. So then there is a Pupa river, that is a Kabul river we have seen, and other western tributaries of Sindhu, like Anitapha is seen. So and of course Sadadru or Sadadru or Vipasha or Sududri Vipash, that these rivers also more or less twin rivers. So this is another example, because some people question me, how can how can you just like yourself decide like the Sushoma and Artigia are twin rivers? Is there any other example for twin rivers? So here is another example, like Sududri and Vipash. So typically we have Vipash is actually a tributary of Sududri. But if you look at the entire Rigveda, the Rishi give equal importance to Vipash and Sududri. In there, even though one of them is a tributary of another, they are always considered as twin rivers. So this is not whatever I mentioned in my book, that Arjigya is a tributary of Sushoma, and they both are considered equal status and considered as twin rivers. That is not unique. There is another example of Vipash and Sududri. Even though Vipash river is a tributary of Sududri, still the rishis mention Vipash Sududri. Always they mention as twin rivers. And of course, maybe the rishis also know a lot of other things, because earlier Vipash had a different course. Like it was not joining Sududri at this point, but see this brown rose color dotted lines. This is the older course of Vipali. Older course of Vipash. So Vipash was an independent river, and the rishis have that memory in their mind. And Sududri was another independent river. Then they are joining separate. Maybe probably they joined the Sindhu separately also. But currently we are not able to see that channels which directly told Vipash and Sududri uniquely separately joining Sindhu. That scenario we cannot see, because it's already maybe very ancient period that might have happened. It is not traceable in the river hydrology anymore. But you can see a channel of Vipash which is more or less independent of Sududri. So this is the reason why they were considered as twin rivers. But at some point of period in the Ṛgvedic history, of course in the early Ṛgveda itself, Vipash merged with the Sududri. So this confluence is also very famous. I have mentioned Vishwamitra crossing this particular Vipash Sududri confluence and it is also very much important for me in terms of the chariots which were crossing were driven by cattle, not by horses. So early Ṛgveda is also corresponding with the cattle-driven chariots, not horse-driven chariots. So that scenario is also there. So in the early Ṛgveda, there was most of the conveyance or the travel was handled by cattle, bull-driven chariots. And this is also the reason why bull is very important in the Harappan iconography compared to horses. Even though horse also is mentioned like iconographically represented, bull representation is more predominant, because in that early period, that is 3300 or 3000 BC period, etc., where Sudas and other kings were ruling 3100 BC or 200 BC, 3200 BC. The main kind of chariots, the dominant chariot carrying vehicle was bull. And that also get recorded in that particular sutta where Vishwamitra is describing Vipash and Sududri as his sisters. So we have covered every river in the Indo-Gangetic basin. So in this particular map, you can see slightly greenish color, that this is the plains. And this kind of creamy color is all elevated terrain, etc. So whatever in the Indo-Gangetic plain, slightly greenish in color, we have covered all the rivers by this particular session. Now all that left out in the rivers are three more rivers, which I will introduce now. And they are the last rivers mentioned in the Nadi Sutta. That is Vajinavadi, Urnavadi, and Silamavadi. So I have identified these rivers as Shuru River and Sanskar River. And Vajinavadi is nothing but Sindhu rivers. Just like Rasa is another name of Sindhu, the Vajinavadi is another name of the Sindhu itself. The reason being because I cannot count it as a separate river, because this particular terminology, Vajinavadi, that is rich in horses, is used as a synonym for Sindhu in some other verses also. So rishis already have clarified to us that the river which is rich in horses, that is this terminology Vajinavadi, is Sindhu itself. Just like we have another example for that. I am not talking from out of the thin air. Because Veerapatni, we have seen another river named Veerapatni. And the Veerapatni name is mentioned along with other two rivers, Anjasi and Kulsi. So there are three rivers mentioned there, Anjasi, Kulsi, Veerapatni. And I pointed out that the Veerapatni is Saraswati itself. I was able to do that because Veerapatni is independently mentioned as a synonym of Saraswati in another sukta. That is the reason why I could say, okay, Veerapatni, that is Saraswati. So similarly, three rivers are mentioned here, Vajnavati, Urnavati, and Silamavati. So Vajnavati, I have to take it as a synonym of Sindhu River, because Sindhu River is famous as a place where good breed of horses were existing. And this is not only in the Ṛgveda, but even in the Mahabharata, the Sindhu breed of horses are praised a lot. Because in the Mahabharata, Kurukshetra war, there is another, not a sukta, but there is an adhyaya where the different horses that Kauravas and Pandavas were using. And one of the important horses were the Vanayu breed horses. So that is currently in the Pakistan, in the Balochistan border, northern border of Balochistan, there is a Vanayu region. So the horses from that Vanayu region, typically, or in other words, the western Pakistan mountainous region is considered as very, very famous and very popular as a great horse. Another kind of horses which are praised a lot as excellent horses is horses obtained from Sindhu River. So those Sindhu River horses, they are not in the plains. So because in the these horses are actually typically live in an elevated terrain, like elevated valleys and elevated, and that is the origin of horses. So when say Sindhu River, people are tempted to think, okay, that is a Sindhu River, which is in the plains, flowing in the plains or in the Pakistan. Not that. The Sindhu breed of rivers were actually obtained from this particular region, this particular mountainous course of the river. Today it is known as Leh region. The city Leh, everything is there mentioned in this particular strip of this much exactly in this particular square. So this particular channel, this particular part of the Sindhu River is where the excellent horses were obtained. And today it is known as Leh and that mountainous region. Of course, this is the Kashmir Valley. I have mentioned it sometime earlier. Also, Kashmir Valley, slight depression you can see. The remaining part is white color, is a elevated mountain. So this is the Kashmir Valley. So Leh is somewhat to the east of the Kashmir Valley. Of course, the Ladakh, in the Ladakh region, where currently the Tibetan people are, Tibetan origin people are living here. Most of them are Buddhist. So in this particular region, you get a very excellent excellent quality horses. Another excellent quality horses, since I am telling this coincidentally, obtained from the Manasarovar region. And that horses is mentioned as horses from Uttarakuru. So the Kailas Manasarovar region in the Tibet is again, Sindhu is flowing originating from that region, very close to the Kailas Manasarovar. So origin of Sindhu is in the Kailas Manasarovar region, somewhat slightly to the north of the Kailas mountain. And of course, to the north of the Manasarovar lake. That is where the Sindhu originates. So that entire region, where the Sindhu originates and where Kailas mountain exists in the Tibet, Manasarovar exists in the Tibet. This is also the place where Shadadru or Satluj originates. So two rivers, two famous Ṛgvedic rivers, Satluj and Sindhu, are originating very close to the Manasarovar Kailas region. And Satluj was earlier, Satluj was exactly originating from the Manasarovar river, Manasarovar lake itself. The source itself was Manasarovar lake. Today, due to some kind of tectonic activities and siltation, the source of the Satluj river slightly shifted a few kilometers away from the Manasarovar. But originally, like during the Ṛgvedic period or in the ancient period, the exact origin itself was Manasarovar. Satluj origin was Manasarovar itself. That is why there is another very interesting name for Satluj is Sarayu itself, because it is basically a technical name, right? Any river originating from the lake is Sarayu. So Satluj was also called Sarayu, even though it was not a very popular name. But technically, Satluj also was a Sarayu Sarayu River, basically. But of course, this name didn't take, or it didn't, many people, none of the rishis use that name. So the river names, again, I have to mention the names, the river names in the Ṛgveda basically follow some etymology. And sometimes, even though one river name is uniquely identified with a particular river, because of its generic meaning as a river or something like originating from lake, etc., it can automatically get applied to another river. And how you distinguish it is based on the context. And of course, here also, I am not talking about out of thin air. There are a lot of situations like this. For example, Apaya River. The unique river Apaya is basically the in Haryana. Apaya means flow of water. Apa means water. Apaya means flow of water. So the way the name Apaya is used uniquely for a geographically unique river, that happens in Haryana, in Kurukshetra, the Apaya river is flowing. Apart from that, sometimes you will see in the Mahabharata, for example, Apaya is the river name Apaya is used for Ganga. That is Apaka. The other variant of Apaya is Apaka. So Ganga is sometimes very rarely mentioned as Apaka. It means flow of water. This is the generic name of the river name. And because of which Bhishma is called Apaka Sutta, the son of Apaka, Ganga, like that. Similarly, the word Apaka is used for Chenab River, the Punjab River, Chenab River. That Apaka mention is found in the Shalya Parva, where there is a conversation between Karna and Shalya, where Chandrabhaga is mentioned as Apaka. Chandrabhaga is the Chenab River itself, Asikni in the Rigveda, Chandrabhaga in the Mahabharata. That Chandrabhaga is referred to as Apaka. So there is no confusion, because after mentioning Apaka, it is mentioned as the river of Sakala. Sakala means Sialkot. So there is no confusion there. The river flowing close by Sialkot, that is Chenab River, and that river is mentioned as Apaka River in a passing reference between the conversation between Karna and Shalya. And we also know Sindhu, the name Sindhu itself uniquely identify the Sindhu River or Indus River. But of course, very in rare scenario, the word Sindhu is used for other rivers like Saraswati. It is used for Saraswati once. So all these things we have mentioned, but largest number of references you can get for the river itself, the Sindhu River itself. Very occasionally, 1 or 2 times, you will have to put up with the river name Sindhu, which is referred to some other river. And how do you understand that it is some other river? Based on the context. Contextually, you can, in the Sukta, there will be evidences that it is referring to Saraswati, etc.